big thank you, Meridian, for hosting this session with very wide size of an audience we have today. I'll just initiate. Before that, please let me know you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much for the confirmation. So let's begin the session today. I am going to take you to a very short intervention around customer service excellence or achieving excellence in the customer services today. But before that, just quick thoughts on the golden rules. Kindly pay respect to individual opinions. Please take notes. Ask as many questions as you have. Try to engage and interact with each other and learn from the experiences and share yours accordingly during the course of this journey. We will have an hour today with us, and we will try to keep this session as interactive and engaging as possible. I will appreciate you keep your mic mute all the time. And if you have any queries, concerns, or questions, kindly share it in the chat box so I can address them during the course of this journey. Um, if we look around the first side, we have a core challenges of customer services. Um, Primarily dominated researches and my experiences in the customer facing role, I found out these are the most or the occurrence of these five challenges are very high, starting with not knowing the exact answer at the time of sitting with the consumer, customer, or talking to them or having any interaction with them, handling angry customers. Number three would be around understanding expectations or precisely getting to know about their expectations, delay in customer complaint resolution, and at times transferring customer calls. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to request you to please share in the chat box which one of these or which any of the other challenges you face in a customer-oriented roles in your personal and professional life. Understanding expectations. Any other? Apart from these, also you can think and you can write here as well. Delay in complaint resolution. Any others? Okay, so we have understanding expectation and delay in complaint resolution so far popped up from your side, respectively. Uh, if we talk about delaying in complaint resolution, usually customers or the consumers want quick resolution of their complaints, and any delay happen at this stage, sort of not give a good experience of overall your brand image and your company reputation as well. Um, at times, we do have processes in place, and companies do try to follow a certain time-bound intervention. But at times, it generally happen that delay occurs because of the coordination or because of the understanding expectation challenges we might also encounter. At times, our resources come in a customer-facing role, and they don't have the right answers to share, be it a new resource or be it somebody else. But we all see a lot of different queries coming up, a lot of different complaints coming up when you are facing the consumers on a daily basis. So it is okay not to know the answer of everything you do, but generally you need to have a good understanding of your product and services or the core product or services your company sells or delivers or deals in. So that is one thing which is very important. Number two is that, of course, there is a way to handle if you don't know the answer, but being blank doesn't give the right kind of an exposure and experience. And we will also look into the future slide that follows how this gives a bad experience to the consumer as well. At times, consumers are not angry or they are not angry people, but generally any delays, any connect, any disagreement or anything that goes against their expectation may create a feeling or air that have a not good experience to them. That makes them angry, that makes them frustrated, or that makes them momentarily upset with the product or services that you're dealing. So, very important to handle the angry customers with patience, with composure, and tolerate them because we all know that the customers are the reason companies exist. So we need to understand what is the reason that is causing them to be angry at this stage, at this point in time, before showing any other reactions. Yeah. Understanding expectation is, for me, is the biggest challenge that happened, because at times we are so excited to resolve the query quickly, or um, we just want to get things quickly done, or at times we misunderstood situations, we don't listen properly. It could be due to many, many reasons, but this is one of the biggest concerns that pop up, that you don't understand the expectation, and ultimately, if you don't understand the expectation, the resolution or the solution or the services or the product that you offer don't exactly meet the expectations. Followed up by a delay in complaint resolution. Yes, I already talked about it slightly earlier as well, because there is a time-bound expectation that customers have with your product and services alongside your company. So if any delay happen, it gives a bad experience to them. And of course, transferring calls. A lot of time we hear that, okay, I don't have the answer for this. Just hold on to the call and I'll pass your call to other person. And in that process, your call get disconnected. So this is going to be a very, very bad experience to any customer, including yourself and me, if we be on the basis of the daily services we use. So yeah, these are some of the core challenges that we do encounter in the customer services space. And let's look around in the next slide, some of the situations that you can resonate or you can relate into your life and share your experiences around it. So starting with, one of your existing customers approach you for an urgent order of 10 tons of steel. Unfortunately, you don't have the stock ready at the moment. What you would say to the customer, and how will you manage this situation?
Okay, I'm gonna say something here. So first of all, what I've seen here in my 20 years experience in North American customer service, and then I was managing the whole entire US and Canada also. First thing, uh, you have to have a patience to understand what customer is looking for. And most of the time that I've seen it, that they don't listen properly,
Mhm.
and customer need a full attention to understand. If you will not understand and you will not listen carefully, you cannot resolve the problem, because sometimes the customer, angry customer, they want to blast it. You want to say something, and it doesn't matter that you can resolve step by step later on, but if you will listen carefully and understand and then give them a full attention, literally I've seen my experiences, they diffuse, and they are basically much better than if you will just interrupt it, if they're trying to say something.
Fair enough. I think, thank you for sharing it openly. And this is one of the reasons that we all give a lot of importance to active listening. And listening is one of the best ability that I think human can have. You're absolutely spot on when you say that when you have angry customers, they just want to blast at you. We all understand that anger is not long lasting. They just need to, get heard in whatever loudness or whatever sound they have. But then once this storm gets normalized, you all have the experience, or you all have the chance to sort of calm them through, understand, and then obviously um, gel the relationships alongside. Uh, if a customer is angry and he or she is coming to you, that's actually a good position to have. This is not a bad position to have. It's a great position to have, because relate this to a customer who is angry and he or she moves to a different brand or a different company. How does that feel? Yeah. So if a customer is angry and he or she want to connect with you and you know blast at you or showcase their anger, then that's a good situation to have. At least you have a customer who is giving you open feedback, and you can listen to that and you can sort it out based on your experiences and your company product and services. Yeah. So thank you for sharing it, Kamran. Your experiences with us. Can anyone would like to go on and explain what you will do in this situation one? I really appreciate Yumna, UY, SRS, Safa, Nadeem, anyone.
I just want to add one more thing also here. If you So first of all, you have to listen and
Mhm.
acknowledge their concern. And third thing, apologize if something wrong, something that you have to say sorry and apologize, and empathize and offer the best solution what you can do.
Mhm.
In
Right.
in Canada, what I've seen it in 20 years is this, two things is very important. Is sorry and first of all, thank you and sorry. Two things is makes is a very what you call it, a very magical word, just to
Yep.
say sorry. I'm really sorry. I understand your situation. I'm really sorry. Let me find out the solution. Let me do something for you. Let Those are the things that it's basically creating a good bridge with the customer to calm down and listen their problem and try to find a solution.
Hmm. I think you're spot on again, and because of course, sorry or uh, making them understand that they're heard properly is a way to sort of calm them down. And again, following up with your willingness to solve the issue supports that, okay, fine, you're not just sorry, you actually want to take a step and resolve that issue that the customer is facing at this point in time. So thank you again for sharing it openly. Okay, I'm going to move to the second one. You are being approached by, so for the first one, what the best possible answer could be that you try to understand the urgency of the customer. What exactly is the urgency look like? And can you cater it with all the quantity in complete, and or you can cater it with a slightly reduced quantity, say let's say 1 ton you can supply for now, you can supply a certain quantity at a later part. So you need to understand the urgency levels, and then you have to arrange the stocks accordingly. Or you can also look into the possibilities of the stock lead time and your delivery time, and you can obviously play around those because you need to cater the urgent requirement. And which is around 10 tons. You might not have 10 tons available. You might have 1 ton available, and you can supply it at the right at the very moment. And maybe you can work it out with the customer to arrange the 9 tons in maybe three different shipments, two different shipments, whatever the urgency and or the situational issue the customer has. But you need to understand the situation while talking to the customer in this specific example. If we talk about the second example, you're being approached by a prospect. Prospect is a future customer. It is not a current customer. It is going to be a customer. Your team is approaching a customer for some time, and it is a prospect. And they are approaching you, and you're negotiating. They're negotiating against your offered services. He is requesting an annual discount of 20% per order based on 4 orders. So he has a 4 order requirement per year or an annual basis. Each order amounting to 600,000 dollars, which means this is a 2.4 million USD customer for you. Again, this is the top line, not the margins. They're requesting an annual discount of 20%, which is around $120,000 per order. You don't have the approvals with you at the moment, but considering these discount levels and the order size or the size of the customer is asking way too much. He should be adjusted somewhere between 8 to 10%. What are you going to do in this specific situation and how you manage this? So in the second specific example, basically, there are two, three ways you can tackle this situation. One is that, of course, you have certain set of approvals and you really have certain um, managerial level of approvals within your company. So if you have the desired approval levels with you, you can go on and close the deal, start the negotiation on the percentage discount level. That's one way of doing it. The customer is asking around 20%, you know that you can cater around 8 to 10%. So you can maybe start off at a 5%, and then you can move the discussion and negotiate at a good level based on the skills of negotiation you have. That's one. Number two is that you move this conversation from cost to value. What your company offers, product or services, you build the conversation around the value that the value customer can get out of it. In that specific domain, that is an ideal scenario. I would love to have this conversation going on because in this space, you can waive off the perception of cost advantage that the customer is looking at from your proposition, and he will definitely move towards a value. If you are delivering a good amount of value, you might end up not giving discounts at all, or a very, very low level of discount, because your products or services can offer more value. Again, the discussion have to be around total cost of ownership or the value calculator, the annual savings that the customer can get from the use of your product versus competition or versus the benchmark product that you can list. So this is another one. So these two can help you in this situation exactly, or you can obviously take time and come back and see through this with your hierarchical levels within the company and then reward accordingly. But that's something which can delay this negotiation process. I would always, I will always recommend to shorten the negotiation cycle, because at times if you delay or extend the negotiation cycle along, the negotiations get delayed, and certain more things add to the negotiation table. You might feel like you are entering a negotiation, and if you delay negotiation a lot, that your deal go back to the prospecting or approach analysis stage, where you have to conduct or rework everything within your proposition. So try to, move quickly. I mean, if I say quickly, this doesn't mean that you don't look into the solutions and just try to wrap it up as quickly as possible. No, that doesn't mean that way. But you have to slightly look into the possibilities of moving from negotiation to close stage a bit earlier than normal. Yeah, that will help you gain advantage of your deals. And this is only possible if you have done a good amount of working at the approach stage. Moving to the part three, if you have any comments, questions, please do write in the chat box. Moving to the part three, you receive a call from the customer. You seems to have some information, but you just don't want customer to have limited information. You pass the call to your boss, who seems to be occupied with an important project. He picked up the phone and hung up. The customer called you again and categorically insulted you and hung up the phone. How are you going to sort this situation? Because this is an existing customer of yours. First, verbal apology and then a gesture might help, like calling them or visiting. Yeah, that's a good point, Sakpa. Say sorry first. Yeah. Again, and just Kamran explained earlier that in certain geographical landscapes, you have slightly, different experiences. So in terms of Canada, you have to use the word of sorry and apologize, and then let me work it out. So these words are magic words over there. But generally, yes, sorry and apologizing are generally treated as a good gesture in case of any experiences that goes wrong in most of part of the world as well. So yeah, you have to apologize for your child for the bad experience customer has in this specific situation. But maybe at this point in time, since he just hung up the phone on your face, so he might not be taking your call back or picking up the phone if you call them back. So maybe give them some time to sort of relax, or maybe and then calling them back again, maybe after 15-20 minutes later. That's one way of doing it. Another way to, pay a cold call to them, sort of visit them. Cold calling is like visiting them without informing. So make a cold call to their premises and, visit. Visit is always helpful because human aura is appreciated by everyone. So yeah, there are two, three things you can do in this specific situation as well. Actually, soft words will make a front person calm and can explain in a soft way. Spot on, Uzair. Thank you for sharing it. Yes, soft words can make a person calm, but at times, if a person is in so much angry state, and you try to make them calm, at times they sort of come hard at you at the start, and then because you are, using soft words, so it will take slight bit of time. But yes, you can help and calm them down as well, because the burst of anger don't last long. But at this point in time, they are they are more so. In this specific situation, he actually wants you to give some information, but you don't have the information. That's why you pass the call to your boss. So the best solution could be that you get the information first within your company and then call them back, or with the information you can visit the customer back. That's an ideal fit in this situation. Yeah. So thank you for sharing it, Uzair, Sagba, and Irshad. I'm going to slightly move towards a short video I have. Please let me know if you can see my screen. And let's see um, what Ross Sheffer has to say about customer experiences. So let's see this video, and then you can share your experiences around.
In this highly technological buying shift that's happened to our customers, wowing them does not cause loyalty to happen. It is the elimination of the pow moments, the gut punches we deliver to the customer when we disappoint them. We don't live up to our brand promise. We don't do what we said we'd do. We deal with a software company. It's $1 billion software company. And so I call to talk to somebody on the lead team. This is the guy I get. Hey, thanks for calling. My name is Jason. How can I provide you with outstanding customer care? I go right on the phone and say, hey, Jason, quit this job, man. How dare they put that guy at the tip of their spear? Really? Was they just filling a slot with somebody who was less expensive and he's representing the brand? That was a complete how moment for me. And we did business with somebody else because I want reliability. I don't trust that he's going to get my information right. He shouldn't even trust he's going to get his information right. Toyota. We worked for the Toyota parts departments and service departments. And so we did tours of all these places where they were saying, we want to differentiate ourselves as a place where people want to come and get their parts and talk to our service reps. Great. One of the places I went back to my hometown of Puyallup, Washington. There's a Toyota dealership there. They've installed this cookie machine. It's an Otis Spunkmeyer, makes fresh cookies. They thought, well, the smell of a cookie will draw people into the parts department. Okay, wasn't that a wow moment? Sure, I think that would probably be, unless they walk in, they see the cookie machine and there are no cookies in there. That would be a bad thing. Then you've turned a wow moment into a pow moment. So we got to put somebody on the cookies, I guess. Yeah, if that's that important to you, or you could sell parts, which I don't know what you want to do. Okay, but here's the point I made with him. You think it's a wow moment. It can desperately go to a pow moment, and it's not going to overcome that wow moment. Is not going to overcome a potential pow. For example, you're standing at the service desk and you're explaining something to a client. You know, we went through your Land Cruiser, and it's going to need a new transmission. That's $3,600, and installation. That's another $795. You want a cookie? Really? We need to rethink ourselves in this situation. We just need to eliminate the pow moments, and the data backs it up. Look at this. CSAT's one of the measurements. Determine what customers want, deliver that. You don't have to exceed their expectation. The bigger risk to loyalty is when you fail or you disappoint them. Pow moments are indelible to our customers because it's human nature. Disappoint them once, they will not forget it. Wow them 5 times, it's not going to really cause that loyalty to happen. Does it work? Yes, Comcast. Let me use Comcast as an example. This is an organization that was losing 1 million subscribers a quarter 3 years ago. This is a tailspin. They were out of control. People said, "Oh, the timing is terrible. The installation window goes from Tuesday to March. The disaster of billing. This is a mess." Okay, all right. So then they had an all hands meeting, and they said, "We have an issue. We need some help. Any ideas are welcome here." In the back, somebody raises a hand. The guy with no title has an idea. It's a welcome. Look, no ideas are bad ideas. Yes, sir. What do you have? Hey, what do you think would happen if we fix the things people complain about? Okay, let's start right there. Why don't we do that? Well, they spent about $110 million fixing the billing, fixing the digital equipment so they can fix it remotely. They fixed the installation window, cut it down to 2 hours, and then they call you if they're on their way. They fixed all of that in a very short amount of time, less than 3 years. Now they're number one in retention. They just fixed they aren't offering bonuses. They're not even really offering you a discount if you sign up again because they don't want to deal on price. They want to deal on value and service and reliability.
Did you like the video overall? How is your experience with respect to?
The suggestion here was to focus on providing value instead of focusing on creating wow moments before you remove your inefficiencies.
So basically, yes, you should focus on delivering value or, working on what your promise is rather than creating the wow moments or focusing on your wow moments because it may lead to creating or having more wow moments. You can have 5 or 6 time wow moments. Customer may not remember, as explained by Sheffer. But what happened is that you do one bad thing and they will never come back to you again. So that is what the survey, what the research says, the wow study says. But we always found companies focusing too much at times on the wow, creating wow moments, which is not necessarily required. In the first example, he talked about that there is a guy on the customer services help desk who seems not to be interested or not so much engaged in the job role, that when he call the attitude is so lame or so much bizarre that he doesn't feel that this guy is reliable to work with, and he might not be able to handle my data properly. So when you don't when you talk about talking to the customers and dealing with them on their queries, we need to have the right kind of voice that backed our intention as well. Maybe you are feeling very much high on the intention wise, but if you are low on energy, if you are low on the voice, if you are not in a good mood, they all be counted as your reliability to the customer, and if they are not in a face-to-face discussion with you. In the second example, he shared about the Toyota dealership, which is trying to engage the customers through additional features at their spare part shop, maybe installing a cookie or something else, rather than focusing on increasing their spare part sale. So again, not necessarily required, but you may end up getting somebody, pissed off because of extra focus towards that thing. And number third one was around the company that is losing 1 million subscribers per quarter. And what they did best is invested good amount of money on fixing the things that the customer complained about. And they are not even giving discounts, but they have the best retention going forward. So the lesson we learned from this actually video is that focus on the promise that you make to the customers. Stop focusing on exceeding expectation. You just have to manage the expectation. That's your top priority. You don't have to annoy them. Yeah. Any other thoughts? So in the interest of time, I'm going to slightly move ahead. I have managing expectation. We talked this one about earlier as well, that this is one of the core challenge that we do face a lot of the times. And in terms of managing customer experiences, we found out that there are 5 to 6 areas that needs our attention, starting with clear communication. So be it a billboard-based communication, be it an email communication, be it your verbal communication, all channels of communication should support the the message that your company delivers. Yeah. And if you don't have the right communication, or your message is seems to be different across different channels, then it may not end up managing the expectation of the customers. That's one. Number two should be that do not try to focus on over delivering. And that is exactly what we see in the last video as well. That instead of over delivering, try to focus on delivering better. There is a difference between both. Yeah. If I want to have the best customer survey outcome of my biggest customers, I should be focusing on delivering better, delivering my promise better all the time. So that's where I can have the potential of growing my business with them, working with them on long-term basis, expanding my business with them based on their expansion. Yeah. So a lot of opportunities come along your way once you work on sustaining relationships with the customers on a longer interval. And then you have to keep providing updates. It is very inappropriate manner that some of the financial institutions used to do, that they just send you messages and say the terms and conditions are updated on the website. Go log into our website and just look at yourself. Rather than if we talk about managing expectations, that you should be, given the updates, that whatever the updated rates or the charges that are going to be applied from XYZ interval, and that's more focused communication look like. Yeah. Or you can provide the updates on email and maybe cross-check with them. That's another way of doing it effectively. Handling complaints in due time are another issue that always pop up. If you are having a lot of complaints in your dashboard and your resolution time exceeds, um, again, it depends on the type of industry you work in. In the e-commerce space, it has to be very quick. In the digital channels space, in the IT tech sector, it has to be very, very quick. In the fintech space, it has to be okay, not that very high, but yes, it has to be less than 48 hours or at times 72 hours. In the physical delivery of goods services, it may extend to 0 to 7 days, but depend upon the type and the services that you are offering, type of product or services you are offering. In the services sector, it may exceed 4 days as well because it's slightly complicated at times. But again, whatever your industry demanded service, customer handling time is, your own resolution time should be less than that, and it has to follow a certain process. Or at times, what happened is that when you are resolving a certain complaint of the customer and it has to go through multiple functions within your company, then you can keep providing them updates during the process. Okay, fine, your complaint has been handled. This is currently under this stage. If it takes more than the expected time, so that gives them slight, better experience that okay, fine, somebody's looking at their campaign and the company is also updating them on a regular interval. So that is another avenue you can explore within your company. And last but not the least, very important point, don't create unrealistic expectations. So if you can't deliver anything, do not ever try to explore that option or create that point in the discussion table. That is very important. If you ever create any unrealistic expectation, the customer never forgets about it, and it is actually a pain. It become a pain point for you in managing expectations during the course of your customer life cycle. I'm going to stop here and request you to please write down in the chat box what are some of the core challenges that you face with respect to managing customer expectations in your professional or personal life. Clear communication, Khizr. Thank you. Unrealistic expectations. Okay. Thank you, Sakba. Any other thoughts over here? Too many changes in a scope, Imran. Thank you for sharing it. So you are talking about with respect to project, right? Project management.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when we talk about scope, we are saying it that scope creep do happens.
Yeah, during execution, sometimes there are some changes required, and these are not captured during the planning phase. So that is the time when, the cost goes up for
Yeah,
those changes, and you have to be very clear about those changes, why this happened and why those changes were not, communicated at the time of the initiation or the planning of the project. So
absolutely.
at that
Absolutely.
time, the customer might, get pissed off, and maybe, they have to view all the processes of the project management, that where this, you have to explain them why at this time these changes are required now.
Yeah, at times it do. At times you have to justify the cost. At times you have to
Yes,
justify the external challenges that pops up. But generally we do have around 40 to 48% scope creep that happens um, across different sets of projects. Again, it depends on the complexity of the project as well. Uh, Generally, we try not to enter into scope creep, but it happens
that's most important for the project managers, is
because
that
of
during the initialization phase,
yeah,
they should learn from the lesson learned from the PMO office. There should be all the knowledge is provided, for the previous projects, and they should manifest those things, those information, when they are planning the new project. So there will be less changes during the execution then.
That's a valid point, Imran. And I appreciate that you bring this discussion into the table because this is something which we all encounter in our daily lives.
Yeah.
Uh, might have experienced a lot of projects. And what happened is that at times I also felt that customers don't have the complete information at their end as well. So, they just get things started with incomplete information. And maybe they have some structural changes during the course of the journey. new management takes up, they have the internal discussion around the existing project, and they, add some unrealistic, or I would say that not needed expectations in the middle.
Yeah.
And that also cause, the scope creep to happen. So there are a lot of things to consider for, but you're right about it, that you need to understand your own circumstances, your complete requirements at once, and you also need to understand from the mistakes or the past practices of the projects that you have completed,
Yes.
avoid such things in the progress. Yeah, quite
Yeah.
that. And one of the more important thing is that for the project managers, it is very important to clearly list anything that can go south at the starting discussions when you are setting up the planning discussions. Um,
No,
you
it's always advisable that a experienced project manager or program manager should be always be included during the project selection of the area, and also during the initialization phase, so they can input their knowledges which they have already experienced from their previous projects. So they should capture everything during the initialization phase of the project, during the gathering of the scope requirements, and there should be minimum changes during the execution,
Mm.
and the quality should also remain steadfast.
Fair point, fair point. I think, but obviously, again, at times it is not possible. The resources deployed somewhere else, or you don't have the people present at times. So yeah, situations do vary, but idealistically, yes, the best way to go about it is to have experienced resources with you, so they can actually help you based on their experiences, their own knowledge, and
Yeah.
yeah, their previous instances where they have experienced the similar issues
Mm.
or the similar kind of project that they worked in different industries.
Because it's very simple that if there will be changes, it will hit your cost. So the cost will go up, and maybe you have to close that project if you don't capture some uh, if there are some some changes which can go beyond your expected revenue. So this could be fatal for the project overall.
As spot on, sir. And additionally, what happened is that at times you don't close, you shelve the projects as well in the middle. So it again, when like incompletion is something that is not advisable.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you for bringing this up. That's very
Okay.
much insightful.
You're
It's a specific topic, that too many changes in any scope or in any discussions or in any journey in the middle is not advisable to have with respect to managing expectations. Any other thoughts anyone would like to share? All right. So I'm going to slightly move ahead, and I have some examples in front of you. Starting with the first one is that I received an order from a customer who has an urgent delivery requirement. Okay. Upon cross-checking it with my logistic team, they asked to update them by 4 p.m. of same-day delivery. So let's say if I have to deliver today, my logistics team says give them an update by 3 p.m. that the customer offload the product or not. Or if the customer is not going to give an update, then we will deliver the next day. I tried to contact the customer, but the customer was busy, so we decided to keep it to the next day. At 4 p.m., the customer called back in urgency, requested to push the delivery for same day, that is today. We tried but could not help the customer because our vehicles already departed for the same day. Logistic team, mapped the resources accordingly, and customer plant got shut down by midnight. We delivered the order the next day at 12 p.m., resulting in 12-hour production loss to the customer. Now you are in this situation, how you are going to manage the customer experience over here.
Sir, we can offer him a discount or something for the next service he gets from us, or we will apologize and then we will um, offer some compensation for that or something like that.
Okay, that's one that you can talk to the customer, and make some adjustments, or sort of rebate them, or some sort of a waiver based on from your side, based on considering that this is the challenge from your side. If a customer is very important, request to the logistic head, Ishad, yes, you can, but of course, I mean, like there is a process that needs to be followed. You have to map your orders in a certain time period, and then your deliveries go out and you deliver it. So in this specific situation, you can even go above the logistic head, the general manager of this specific function, but he also can't help it out because the challenge is that it's something that is not executed on time, and it has just delayed the delivery expectation from the customer has with you. So I heard one response from Mahmood that we might sort of give them a waiver, maybe on the next order or from this order, to relax them because somehow or indirectly the customer is blaming us for a 12 hours production loss. Any other thoughts?
Normally they give service vouchers,
Yeah,
which they can use, for the next projects.
yeah.
And this is something, sometimes unknown things happen, and normally they compensate it with service vouchers. Okay, we'll give you this much discount in the next project, so please, we move on.
Or are you in a position to talk to the customer and say that because you did not hear a response before 3 p.m., so it's not our fault. Can you say this?
Depends upon situation to situation. So yes, we can. If if the hit is big, then we have to stand up and say what caused it. If we have captured it in the risk or not before that. But if it was an unknown risk and it happened, so normally depends upon your relationships with customer and everything. But yes, you should at least explain them if the problem occurred from their side or our side. But the third alternative is always better, not to displease the customer.
Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Salman, would you like to go ahead and share
I
your
just want
thoughts
to
as
add
well?
one thing here.
Yeah, please.
So, first of all, here we use euphemism. Euphemism is it's a some sort of polite manner, polite word that using direct speech we use indirect speech. So
Hmm.
first of all, that's a big long discussion about the euphemism. But I give you example. There is a lot of the customer services the excellence in North America, so that's why they are conquer the whole world because of the customer service, and they understand the customer is very important because without customer you cannot do a business. So first thing, second thing is, uh, for example, the pizza, the company here, if they promise if they cannot deliver in 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever the time is given is 1 minute delay, they give you pizza free. So it shows your dedication, your excellence, your time manner. Those are the things that's very important in the customer service in North America.
Yeah, I think you thank you for sharing it again. Again, it depends on the geography, the type of market you are in. There are certain norms that the services or the product delivery or the experience, customer experience should get. The industry, has to accept. For example, if we talk about a certain geography, let's say in Asia, customers are more inclined towards receiving the goods and services quickly. So that is an objective view of the lubricant industry delivery, right? So usually within the Asia span, I worked in the APAC region. So from Pakistan, India goes to South Singapore, your delivery time is very much crucial. And then there is an industry norm across different countries that it has to come under 0 to 2 days or 3 days max based on different geographies you have. But if you are not delivering in that space, that means you are not managing the experience better. And if we talk about a different market, let's say in the Netherlands, so the experiences of retail is that you can't have more than 1 day delay with respect to delivery, with respect to the delivery of the products, because the it is so much interconnected country and so much competition out there, you cannot expect to have delays there. So just like you mentioned something about the North America, that it's a so developed market, they know the customers' value, and there is a lot of competition, and the norm is set in such a way that if you're not delivering in XYZ minutes time, you have to give the product for free. And I think the same goes for the McDonald's as well. If they punch your order incorrectly, they have to return the money to you as well alongside the product. Amazon has some outstanding, customer services as well. So these are the companies that understood the value behind offering customer services at a very, very good length. So that's why they have built upon their promises. And in this specific case, you can obviously have a slightly room to play around, but you have to sort of manage the expectation better and sort of not to displease them. Yes, there is an error that happened. Of course, you tried to contact, but was unreachable. Maybe his phone might not have the signals. He was on the plant doing some work or whatever the reason is. But this is a slight delay that happened due to slight miscommunication, and you might not want to displease or have a bad customer experience at this stage, so you can consider any waiver with respect to that. Yes, for pizza, if you're failed to deliver on time, you will deliver subject delivery free of cost, subject to competition and marketing, product or brand. Yes, Uzair, you're right, absolutely. And it also depends on the geography that you're working with. Within a specific country, things also vary. Yes, Kamran, please go ahead. You have.
I just want to add one thing because of the they're working for the customer excellence, and they're doing a research on it. And here in North America, they pay you by hour. So
Hmm.
keep in your mind, it's not salary, it's hours. So hour is very important for them to deliver the things in time. And that's why you know that if you know about the JIT system, just
Hmm.
in time system, because they want to save the time, and it's applied to not only the Japan, it applies to all over the world. And the most of the company, they are following the GIT system, although they had some hurdles also. But why they want to do a GIT system? Because they want to save their time and capacity and the other things also. And those are the things that they take them the top of the line in the world. Japan, European countries and North America, but still in Asian countries, still in the vague situation. We try to pretend to give the best service for the customer, but we are not delivering them. Why? Because by nature we are not promising and trying to understand that customer is our boss.
Hmm. I think that sums up everything from this perspective, because and at times you just explained that they're just paying on an hourly basis. The time is very much critical, and this is also the one of the core principle of the lean management that we also study, and definitely aspects of the project management as well. Because if you have the product that has been created based on the customer demand or the pull, then of course you are in a much better position to avoid your carrying cost or the inventory cost or the holding cost associated with that. And you can, of course, work it out in that manner. And as the time progresses, cost has become a big challenge for companies to manage. So they work continuously on reducing the cost that they incur and working on increasing the outcome of the overall product and the services they offer. So yeah, it is a very much integrated component. I'm going to move to the second example here. I had worked with the customer in financial services sector and provide them our services. Upon charging the invoice, they came back to us at agreed rates. Unfortunately, the formula pricing which I agreed on earlier did not have a cap of USD benchmarking. While I was taking rates from routers.com, but the customer insisted on taking it from some other website. Both websites have a difference of 15 SAR, constituting an invoice value difference of 3,896.10, around 10% of the total order value. How are you going to settle this dispute that just popped up based on not mentioning the reference point of websites in our contract? Okay, so in the interest of time, I'll just slightly move on. Basically, in this specific case, what you can do best is that there's a challenge that happened because of not benchmarking the USD SAR rates. within your contract. So what you need to do is that this variation, that the difference come up 3,896.10, this has to be negotiated, and a certain amount of it you have to bear it by yourself, and certain you need to obviously make the customer realize that since it is not agreed on earlier, so it's not just one person's fault here. So, try to bear as minimum as possible. But the best thing you can do is that follow this discussion, immediately agree on a revised addendum and add to your existing contract, stating clearly the benchmark website for any USD SAR rate parity. So you cannot be in a position to have such issues going forward. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this? Okay, I'm going to move to the third one. I received a customer complaint on insufficient information on our value proposition. I have taken note of it and aligned my sales team members for a joint visit for showcasing our end-to-end services and value differentiation. We executed the session collaboratively within a week. This awareness amongst customer stakeholders helped us in expanding our market share to 8%. What happened in this specific case? Any thoughts?
Sir, in this case, the representative took the note of the complaint and immediately act on it by sending the team and giving an awareness session that helped. So this yani, acting on it immediately and uh, giving awareness can increase the customer satisfaction. I understand this from.
Yeah, acting on it at the right point without ignoring the challenge pop up, and you sort of note it down, align your internal stakeholders, work it out to a joint visit. Also, one important point I want to clarify here: when you have a new customer on board, try to work with the initial requirements to one product or one service. That's an ideal way to enter into a new customer's place. Once you enter into a new customer or have onboarded a new customer, then you also have the chance to expand your horizons, value cross-selling your other product or services and expand your market share. So as explained in this is a specific example that it's a customer complaint, so it is an existing customer who don't have the complete information of your value proposition overall. So what you did is that, or the person did is that they took note of it, aligned their internal sales team for a joint visit, go to the customer premises, demonstrated their end-to-end value services or the proposition, then execute, and then of course help the customer to materialize more services from them. And this helped them to expand their market share of around 8% from that specific customer. So thank you.
Also, weekly meetings, with the customers. You should
Yeah,
track all these things and you should discuss these things as lesson learned and should not repeat such kind of things in future. Joint visits and all this are always should be captured in the weekly meetings.
So what happened is that, Imran, when you are selling the products or services, at times weekly meetings are not required because you onboarded the customers. So yes, a periodic meeting is required. Again, depend upon the what time interval you set with that, because usually a salesperson handle around 20 accounts on a normal level, and again it varies with respect to the size of the services or product they offer. But with the project delivery, yes, of course, you can tie up a time on a weekly basis to track things, yeah, to keep a right traction of the activities that are going on. And again, just as we discussed earlier, avoid project creep that can happen. This collaborative approach increased customer awareness, leading to an 8% expansion in the market share. Yeah, thank you for that. All right. The next is levels of customer services. So there are 6 important levels of customer services, starting with first missed. The second one is ordinary. The third one is expected. The fourth one is highly expected. The fifth one is surprising, and the sixth one is delighted. What is missed? Missed is something that you promised a customer for delivering a product or service, and you either don't, deliver it on time. You missed your commitment, you deliver a wrong product, something that, or you mistakenly not delivered the product, delayed too much. Anything that is coming in that space is part of missed. delivery, missed services level, and that gives a very bad customer experience. This sort of experiences might not trigger the second purchase from your specific company or brand. So I have a question. I'll take that, Nida. If we have to introduce a product, what will be the best approach? So Nida, would you like to explain it a bit more, if you can? Unmute yourself. Like you're talking about a new customer, you're talking about an existing customer to a new product. New customer. Okay. So basically what happened is that when you are approaching a new customer or a we call them prospect in the language of sales. Once you are approaching a new customer for the business purpose, and you are trying to, of course, showcase yourself as a company that is providing the product or services that the customer buys, yeah, or purchases on a regular interval. So you have to be the second best option at the customer place. First best is, of course, that the one he or she is using, and you has to come to the list in the second best place, because if there are any issues that comes with respect to their existing supplier, you always have the chance to get the business. That's one way of doing it, and for that you have to rope in. You have to meet them. You have to explain what you offer, how you're offering, the proof points, your deliveries, promises, and your value proposition overall. Once you have the chance to deliver, and then you have to work on these customer service levels. And as we talked earlier, I think you joined a bit late, do not try to over deliver. Try to meet and exceed expectation. Not go for surprising and delighted stages, because you need to deliver your promise to build a lasting relationship with the customer. And then during this journey, you can, of course, expand your market share, have more cross-selling opportunities, sell more products or services to the customer during this journey, retain them for longer intervals, and constantly delivering their promise. An ideal scenario is that we do a periodic business review with the customers to understand how the relationship is going along, how we are serving them, what needs to be looked into, what changes that are coming along in the customer front as well from your product and services, what updates you are working on. So this is a fascinating, experience to have in either part of the equation, be it your customer front or be it the customer front, or be it the customer front or be it the sales front, to have a good cohesion-based working with the customer or the company that the customer is buying products or service from. We don't have to take on more, yeah, which we did not fulfill. Yes, of course, of course. Never overcome it. I always say that, never overcome it, never create unrealistic expectation, never try to get integrated as well. Never try to copy your competition. You always see your competition and you always try to learn from their experiences as well, but do not try to copy them, because your circumstances are different, their circumstances are different. Your products have their own advantages and disadvantages, and the same goes with them as well. So yeah, I talked about missed experiences. The ordinary experiences are someone that, okay, fine, I ordered a service from your company and you delivered it, but it is not as per my expectations. It is like you delivered it and it's okay, but I might not give you another order, because my technical team give you a rating of, like, say 6 out of 10, and we already have some of the suppliers in our company that are delivering at 7 out of 10. So this is something like this. You deliver on the expectations, but slightly lower than what they were expecting from you, because they already are availing a slightly better services from somebody else. So this is ordinary. And usually you don't want to be on the missed or ordinary side. Most of the companies are currently delivering on the expected and highly expected domains. Expected is something which, let's say I ordered a pizza and I expected it to come to my home at 5 minutes and it came in 4.5 minutes. This is something which is expected, and the taste is good, the delivery is good. So yeah, I'm okay, I'll order again. Yeah. And this relationship goes on. But in order to have an extended version of business or a sustained long-term relationships, you have to move from expected to highly expected. And highly expected is something that the customer always values. And this is the relationship that gives you more business, that gives you longer or sustained business with respect to one customer based on your services and product you offer. And this is something that you expected something, the company delivered it, and they give you something extra, be it a free survey of their team to customer new site, or free inspection after their service, something extra that comes along the way that it increases their experience from expected to highly expected. And then we move to the wow side of the equation, which is surprising and delighted. Surprising is something which the customer is not expecting you to deliver, and you deliver it alongside your highly expected service levels. And the delighted is something that is one level above than surprising. These are some of the services that the company deliver, but again, this is built over the period of time. You're working with a customer for like 10 plus years, you're getting a lot of business for them. You then try to create that surprising or delighted experience. That's one way of looking at it. Another is that your business is continuously on a rise with the customer, and then you move from highly expected to surprising or delighted stage. It always depends on the amount of money you are getting from a certain customer, and then you can tailor-made the services to their advantage or likes. But if you are focusing too much on the wow moments of surprising and delighted, you might end up creating some power moments, as we discussed earlier in the video as well. So I am going to stop here, and I am going to request you to take 2 minutes and go back to your professional lives and see what have you done. Give me an example out of these six experience levels. Pick any one customer. Give me an example without naming the customer with respect to your products and services, and share your experience with respect to any of these services you provided or you received.
I was engaged in one project, and the project was to upgrade 2G services. Telecom, I'm talking about the telecom industry now. So we were upgrading 2G services to 4G and LTE. And the there was a huge big problem was that we didn't have a license for the 3G. So normally what we should have done is from 2G to 3G, upgrade to 3G, and then to 4G and LTE. But what we did as our team, technical team, we bypassed this 3G, and we were also lucky that when we purchased the license, it was technology neutral. So our customer, because it saved us millions of dollars, and it was like a world second company which did that, bypassing 3G and upgrading their system to the 4G and LTE. So, our customer was very much highly, they were surprised and they were highly motivated that we saved them millions of dollars with this good contract deal in the initial phase of the project, buying a technology neutral contract, number one. And then technically our team was so smart that they completely bypassed this one layer of 3G. So that was an experience which I wanted to share. I hope that this suits what you are asking.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it also depends on the expertise of team to deliver the overall
Yes.
product that you make. So yes, at times it do play a very important role, and I think in this specific sample did fit this specific scenario over here as well. So thank you for sharing it openly. Yeah, but of course, I would always request to take a stepwise leap in this journey, because at times what happened is that, so one of the example that I do share that I worked on in a consultation project with a company. So what happened is that their core issue was delivery time. So the industry norm was around the delivery time was around 0 to 3 days, and they were delivering at around 7 days. So they're already, far below the industry norms. So I rated them at current standpoint as a missed. We worked with the team and we moved from missed to ordinary levels, that we moved the delivery time. to shorten it up to around 4 days, but still the industry is operating at 3 days. From that onwards moment, my consolidation project got completed, and the company then tried to jump straight from ordinary to delight. Yeah, and in that process, they actually messed up, and their own delivery time, went back to 8 days within the span of next six months. So again, with optimal resources, you cannot jump a lot of steps. There is cost associated with everything. There is labor associated with everything. There is human capital associated with everything. The skilled, unskilled resources both are there with respect to everything you do as a company. And at times we ignore a very important fact that most of the departments within the companies are cost occurring departments except sales or yeah. So they actually generate revenue, others consume it. So once you are consuming cost and you are trying to build or increase your existing value proposition, there is a lot of cost that is associated with respect to that. So you have to be aligned internally before taking that big leap. Yeah. And this is ideally good when you go step by step rather than jumping alongside and, messing it up in the middle. So thank you for sharing, Imran. Anyone would like to add your thoughts here before I move towards the closing part of this discussion today? All right. So I'm going to be thankful to you, the Meridian, as well, for planning this session today. It was a great learning experience for me, myself, and I hope, for everyone here present. Please do share your thoughts and feedback with the team.
Okay, thank you so much once again, Faidan, and thank you so much for all the participants, and have a nice weekend outside KSA. And you can join us in our YouTube channel, like Meridian, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, for our next webinars and training session. If you want any of our services like training consultancy, you can write us at training@meqmp.com, and we can feedback response to you. Thank you so much, everyone, once again. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.